Warning, some viewers may find this video hard to watch. Viewer discretion advised.
Here comes the pit, right along the right fender there.
Adrenaline driven.
Looks like he's looking back saying, come on, catch me if you can.
Heart pounding.
There he goes. So he made a run for it.
Desperate criminals behind the wheel.
Oh no!
Oh my
goodness!
Almost getting away from police.
Now a number of black and whites closing in on these suspects.
In the next half hour, we bring you America's wildest pursuits.
The female driver running across the 91 freeway.
A car flipping over during a chase.
They're trying to get the suspect into custody here.
And a driver bailing on foot, leaving a car running during rush hour traffic.
Into a pole. Ah, shucks, he says.
These chases are totally unpredictable.
Oh my
right into a power pole, flipping over, and there goes the sparks.
Buckle up. This is On the Run. August 5th, 2021, Los Angeles, California. Officers are pursuing a driver who has refused to yield at a traffic stop.
When people are fleeing this quickly, they're just trying to get away because they are in fight or flight. They don't want to be caught, so their adrenaline is high. It clouds their judgment. They're not thinking about whether or not they're going to live or die. They just want to get out of that situation.
In attempt to escape, the driver squeezes through traffic, almost losing control of the vehicle as he weaves through other cars.
You see that silver sedan right there, the driver driving extremely recklessly.
Glendale PD chasing the suspect as he flies through red lights, right through Silver Lake, loses control as he tries to swerve back into the correct lanes, slamming into a power pole, and there go the sparks flying. Now the car is rolled over, suspects are still in the car, and now they've got live power lines on top of this vehicle.
Police officers rush to secure the area, trying to keep onlookers away from the dangerous scene.
The officers got to be worried about those lines. Those lines are still vibrating.
These officers that are involved in this pursuit have kind of a double jeopardy happening here. They have the danger of the pursuit, and then now they have the danger of potentially being electrocuted by the electrical lines that are flying all over the place, and/or the fact that they're flying right next to a gas station.
5 men emerged from the overturned vehicle with only minor injuries.
Luckily, nothing explosive happened here, and you just have the guy doing the crawl of shame getting out of the car while the wheels are facing the sky.
Officers take 2 adults into custody, one booked on suspicion of possessing nitrous oxide and misappropriation of lost property, and the other booked for felony child endangerment and felony evading. October 20th, 2021, Southwest Florida. It's Friday evening, just prior to midnight, and a stolen minivan is leading Florida officers on a dangerous high-speed pursuit.
10-4, Lee County, can you advise FNPD, please?
I think there's a number of factors that go into why people do these crazy things that they're doing. You know, they clearly don't want to be caught by the police, and if they don't want to go back to jail, particularly for a long stretch, that they will do what they feel that they need to do to get away.
Video from Lee County Sheriff's helicopter captures the moment the van swerves through the Edison Bridge before crashing into a barrier on both sides.
It's signal forward on the bridge. It's crashing on the bridge right now.
48. He's now bouncing off of the guardrails on a narrow bridge. That SUV finally comes to a stop. Where's the driver? Is he going to give up? Nope. He's going to jump.
The suspect miraculously survives the impact. Trying to evade the police, the man jumps over the bridge's safety barrier and plummets more than 50 feet into the Caloosahatchee River.
And he just jumped off the bridge.
Lee County, he jumped, he's in the water. He has to be hurting though, because he crashed into the wall. You jumped, what, 50, 60 feet. That couldn't feel too good. I don't know if he's physically, able to keep going.
The suspect vanishes into the water and a Marine unit is called to a search.
Car 43 County, 51 that way, get the traffic and also contact the Coast Guard.
If someone is that desperate to jump into the water where there could be alligators, sharks, where they could potentially die, then you've got to wonder what they're hiding. Maybe they have a history of a severe criminal record. Maybe if they're incarcerated again, they could be put away for a really long time. So you wonder about how desperate they have to be to risk their lives by jumping into that water.
All right, we're going to try to get a little closer and put the spotlight on them so they know where to go.
So the helicopter is able to spot the suspect swimming in the water. This guy has gone full Harrison Ford under this bridge as he tries to get away from those cops. What are they going to do? They're on the bridge. He's about, what, 50 feet down? He's at least 50 feet down. They've got to get a boat to rescue this suspect.
The Sheriff's Department rescue boat quickly arrives on scene.
Yeah, it looks like they're about to get the subject out of the water.
Deputies are able to fish the man out of the water.
That's what makes Florida so unique. You never have a rescue like that, or a crash like that, or a jump into the river like that, or a jump into the ocean like that.
The suspect is charged with eluding police and grand theft auto. June 22nd, 2023. A dangerous high-speed pursuit is taking place in South Los Angeles.
Grand theft auto of a stolen Jaguar, still doing about $120 westbound on the 10 freeway, coming up on the East LA interchange.
The Jaguar is going to be able to carry more speed and likely have better performance metrics than any of the police vehicles that would be chasing it. So it does give you the advantage when you're running from the police as a vehicle that is able to outperform them, which is going to make them have to be at the top of their game, where you don't necessarily have to be operating your vehicle at 10/10.
During the chase, the suspect drives at more than 100 miles per hour.
So this was a high-speed chase on the 210 freeway, a stolen Jaguar with a grand theft auto suspect behind the wheel, and he was flying. He was going so fast, the California Highway Patrol could barely keep up with him.
Due to the high speeds and dangerous maneuvering, law enforcement grounds all units and pulls back.
At this point in time, there's really no reason for us to be traveling over 100 miles an hour on an open freeway. We got the helicopter overhead, we could back off, we could drive at a distance that when he eventually stops, crashes, whatever that may be, hopefully we'll be on him fast enough. But that's pretty much what's going on here, because at 100 miles an hour, one small mistake on your part as a police officer, and you're going to crash.
The wide open freeway lanes makes it easier for the suspect to get away.
They lost him momentarily. Now, as I mentioned, that helicopter has a visual once again, but right now there's nobody behind this Jaguar. Now, we believe it's a stolen Jaguar. We know there's obviously a driver in there, but unclear whether there's anybody else in there with him at this point.
When the suspect reaches a freeway overpass, he uses the blocked visibility as his opportunity to flee on foot.
He ended up back where we had started in South LA and eventually dumped the car underneath that overpass. Right there, he gets out of the car, CHP's behind him, but the car keeps rolling, and you see this empty Jaguar rolling through the intersection with the door open, eventually comes right up behind that van. Police are trying to catch up with the car, and by the time they got there, the suspect was long gone. But now you have this Jaguar just rolling through the intersection with nobody in the car. It was unbelievable.
The abandoned Jaguar continues to roll down the street. The car then crashes into a light pole.
Try and open it up. Is it okay? It's open, and here it comes to an end. Into a pole. Ah, shucks, he says.
So ghost riding the whip, that is when you have a car drive itself without an occupant behind the wheel. And that is what he did here, the ghost riding of the whip, because when a car idles, especially an automatic car, it will have a base speed of just say 3, 4, 5 miles an hour. And that is enough to make somebody believe there is somebody driving the car because it is operating by itself. Perfect cover for you to get out from under a bridge and run away in a different direction while they're still chasing the vessel that they thought you were in.
The suspect manages to escape, and no arrests were made that day. When we come back, a stolen U-Haul towing a trailer bursts into flames.
Well, look at how this has grown. This is really an issue now for the safety of that driver or anyone else on board that vehicle.
Officers search for the fleeing suspect while firefighters extinguish the flames. May 11th, 2021, Burnham Park, California. It's just around 6 a.m. and California Highway Patrol units are pursuing a stolen U-Haul towing a trailer.
Both of the front tires are flat at this point. It's really slowing down here, and it just may be that this truck doesn't have enough power to continue to drive on those rims at any type of high rate of speed.
A U-Haul is a really interesting choice in terms of stealing a vehicle. From a behavioral scientist's point of view, it may actually be smarter than most people think, because a U-Haul is not a vehicle that's flashy. When you see a U-Haul in your neighborhood, you're not going to think twice like that they're up to no good.
The suspect is driving at relatively slow speeds along the 91 freeway just as rush hour traffic stacks up.
You know, the thing that I love about these pursuit videos is people will steal just about any kind of car, and this is very true.
Officers chased the truck for almost 2 hours before deploying a spike strip into the truck's path.
Clearly, you have seen so many spike strips being deployed and ending pursuits such as this one.
When you steal a vehicle like this, you have to think about whether or not this is something that can get away. You're not going to be able to outrun or outdrive a police officer in that type of vehicle.
The flattened front tires begin to catch fire.
But look at that fire blazing as he comes up on the exit ramp. You can see CHP with a helicopter right over it, trying to figure out when this vehicle is going to give up.
Boy, look at how this has grown. This is really an issue now for the safety of that driver or anyone else on board that vehicle.
A couple things go through my mind when I watch a fiery U-Haul go down the road. One is what's inside, right? You think that's going to end up at a storage auction, or is it all going to burn to the ground? It could be precious cargo, it could be empty. Who knows? But that's really what I think about when I watch this.
As the slow-moving truck finally exits off the freeway, the driver jumps out of the cab.
Look at that.
There he goes. So he made a run for it. CHP is right behind. The suspect will not get away through a bag or something.
The U-Haul bursts into flames.
And authorities still have to worry, is there anyone in the back of that truck? You know, probably not, but you never know for sure.
It's a little unnerving because, you know, don't forget the vehicle itself, a vehicle of this size, has a pretty sizable gas tank in it, right? So you don't want that vehicle to become fully engulfed. You also don't know what's inside this vehicle.
Officers search for the fleeing suspect in a residential area.
I think that's a suspect right there.
CHP now has a fire in the middle of the street and a suspect on the run. They've got to get fire crews here right away, as that U-Haul is a total loss.
The driver is eventually apprehended and taken into custody. August 15th, 2023, Southern California. 3 burglary suspects in a dark Mercedes lead police on a high-speed chase in the San Fernando Valley.
CHP is right on top of them, and eventually they are going to run into more traffic, like right now.
CHP trying to keep up, weaving through traffic. These are very dangerous. This is a very dangerous driver who is putting so many lives in danger here as he threads the needle through all of this rush hour traffic, using the shoulder, looking for any holes to get away from CHP.
The dangerous rush hour pursuit started just before 6 p.m.
They're using the shoulder to pass, and there's so much can happen where a vehicle can merge into the left. It's just so dangerous right there. It's just an awful part of the roadway when they use that for a pursuit.
The sedan speeds along 210 freeway.
As a behavioral scientist and a psychiatrist, when I see this type of behavior, I think this is not premeditated, because if you're going to steal a car, try to get away from the police, you're not going to do it at a busy time of day. You're going to pick a time of day when there aren't that many cars on the road, because you have a better likelihood of getting away. And when desperate individuals are in this situation, they're dangerous, because they'll do whatever it takes to get away, and that means that they don't care about anyone else but themselves.
You know, that helicopter is just right over that car. It's got to be a little intimidating to think, where are you going to go? There's nowhere to hide.
Common mistakes people make is they stay on the highway too long. If you lose a police officer, best thing you could do is become anonymous. Get off the highway, go disappear on local road somewhere. They're going to keep going on the highway, assuming you're still on the highway. Once they lose sight of you, that is your best chance of getting away. By staying on the same highway, they set up something further up, and you're more likely to get caught.
After an hour-long pursuit, officers execute a pit maneuver.
Become very eventful here.
There
Here comes the pit right along the right fender there, and spinning that Mercedes out of control, doing a full 180.
Pit maneuver, very common maneuver for the police to try to neutralize a vehicle. You hit the back of the vehicle, and that forces it to spin around and come to a stop.
The driver exits the Mercedes and gives up.
Generally, when you're pulling occupants out of the vehicle, it is unknown whether or not those occupants are armed or not. So the idea is that you want them to come to you instead of you coming to them.
One suspect out of the car, on the ground, assuming the position and following orders as they now wait for additional passengers to come out of the vehicle.
2 other suspects, a male and a female, also exit and surrender to law enforcement.
The suspects obviously taking their time crawling out of the vehicle, but fortunately, all's well that ends well. Fortunately, nobody hurt over the course of this high-speed pursuit.
When we come back, a stolen Dodge Hellcat outruns police officers in Houston.
That guy is moving along, and those Chargers, if you've ever been in one of those and driven those things, they can cruise at 150 without a problem. And that's what's dangerous.
October 13th, 2017, Houston, Texas.
You see him right there? They're ahead of him, coming up to I-10 here.
A 25-year-old man in a stolen Dodge Challenger Hellcat leads officers in pursuit along Interstate 10.
This is just outside the Beltway on I-10. We're heading eastbound now, and probably about 100 miles an hour or so, if not faster.
We got a Dodge Hellcat, excellent choice. It will outperform any cop car, so if you've got the right road conditions, you stand a pretty decent chance of getting away.
It's just after lunchtime, and the white car is speeding erratically at more than 100 miles per hour.
This is a busy time of day. This is not something that you typically see during your lunch hour. And this individual is driving this car really quickly. It's almost like a scene out of a movie, like one of those car movies where there are these intense car tricks.
The Dodge Challenger continues eastbound, weaving in and out of lanes, riding on the shoulder to avoid other vehicles.
It is so scary because he is coming so very close to all of those vehicles.
You know, the horsepower in this car is considerably higher than even the police cruisers have in their cars. It makes it that much more difficult for the police to catch a vehicle like this, because this vehicle can reach very, very high speeds.
When you're moving along at this rate of speed, I mean, that's okay for this vehicle. It's not like it's going to overheat and explode and have problems. But I'm just wondering about the police officers. They don't seem to be anywhere near this guy.
Desperate to get away in a very, very capable vehicle, authorities having a really challenging time just trying to keep up with that race car.
As the pursuit continues eastbound on Highway 27, the driver pulls over and jumps out of the car.
You know, that might work if maybe you're in the middle of the city. Yeah, but when you're in a pretty rural area such as what we're seeing here, and you're in the middle of like nowhere, where are you going to go? And in this situation here, the guy gets out of the car, he runs into a wooded area. And again, from the ground level, it may be difficult for patrol units to see someone in this brush, right? So it's providing cover for him temporarily. But up in the air, you got the helicopter looking right at you.
Desperate officers now search for the runaway criminal.
This area is known for having reptiles that are dangerous. There could be wild animals out there, but they're willing to take the risk.
A police helicopter spots the suspect walking casually while talking on the phone.
No, that's him right in the middle of the screen.
If I were going to guess why he would get out of a Hellcat and run, he's either damaged or disabled the car, so it's no longer operating properly, or he's out of fuel, which is a very good chance.
A deputy tackles the man and takes him into custody.
There they go, tackling him to the ground, and this one is over.
After the break,
trying it again, a little better, perfect.
A slow pursuit has a dramatic ending when a pit maneuver causes a truck to flip.
And it looked like that doing that pit maneuver, it was enough to make the vehicle overturn. The suspect is still inside the vehicle. Now they're going to have to get him medical attention.
May 13th, 2021. California Highway Patrol attempt a pit maneuver on a driver who has refused to pull over.
Probably looking at what's ahead. Want to make sure when he does it, very nice, but not quite enough.
They got to be very careful because when you pit, you're actually sending the vehicle out of control, but you're trying not to get it to turn over on its side, flip over, or anything like that. That's why we don't pit at high speeds.
Officers try a second time, and the pursuit tactic forces the fleeing vehicle to turn sideways.
And now training should say box them in, right? Don't let them go anywhere. You've got them stationary, and you could probably even give them a parking ticket for facing the wrong way on the road and let them try to talk his way out of that one.
CHP units draw their guns at the suspect. 2 patrol cars surround the truck.
And now they've got him, right? It's going to come to an end here. Nope. He pulls it into reverse, and guess what? The chase picks up once again. CHP getting back in their car, guns back in the holsters, and here we go. Round 2. The truck keeps going. Let's see how it ends.
We are once again traveling on San Vicente Boulevard in pursuit mode. So it looked like we were going to have a standoff, and the suspect was able to back up, turn around, and continue on.
When people have their full capacity in gear, they stay at one speed, they have one goal, they're trying to get away. But when you start to see a vehicle teetering and then speeding up and slowing down, that tells me as a behavioral scientist that maybe they don't have their full capacity, maybe they're under the influence, maybe they're, intoxicated, so their executive functioning is off, that their reflexes aren't as sharp. And this is a potentially dangerous situation because when someone is under the influence and they're driving, they could crash into a home, they could crash into another car.
It looks like they're going to do the pit maneuver again here. There you go, here it goes. And once again, not quite hard enough, but you do see that right front wheel. It does look a little off.
So, with a pit maneuver, they have to figure out what is the safest place to do this pit maneuver if they can.
The chaos ends after a third pit maneuver flips the truck over.
He flipped over. How did that happen? He must have hit the gas pedal and slammed right into that tree.
It looks like they're breaking the window open so they can at least see if he has a weapon.
Officers pull the suspect out of the truck and take him into custody.
You really start to think California should put a little bit more effort into their police chase vehicles, because the standard cop cars, these are taking too long, right? Like the police chase should be over much quicker, and I think we got to equip the cops a little bit better so we don't have to look at all these police chases, because it's really becoming commonplace.
Right into a power pole.
These were just some of America's wildest police pursuits.
He threw money at the people.
The most extraordinary attempts to escape and evade.
There comes another passenger.
These drivers were fast and foolish.
Right into that black sedan.
But with police in hot pursuit, it never pays to be on the run.
Sheriffs are out, guns are drawn, hands are out.
Driver getting out of the vehicle.